everyone. Welcome back to Open. In honor of Puerto Rican Heritage Month, we are shining a light on an iconic figure whose acting career spans over 40 years with over 100 films and over 50 television credits, music videos, voiceovers, and has voiced video games. The interesting part of his trajectory is that he began his career as a social worker, moonlighting as an actor. To name a few of his most recent recognizable roles is that of portraying Gomez Adams in Wednesday and Godfather of Harlem and Shameless and You're So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah. And some of his classics include Carlitos Way, Boogie Nights, How to Make It in America. I mean, he's been in so many films that it would take the entire segment to list them all. But most recently, he was presented with the 2023 International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival Lifetime Achievement Award at the festival's opening night, alongside the screening of the independent film Story Avenue, written and directed by Aristotle Torres, captured here in the BX, in which he starred and executive produced through his production company, Dark Rabbit. Born in Calle, Puerto Rico, raised in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, by way of the Bronx, father of 5, godfather to my daughter. Everyone, I present to you mi compadre, the incomparable Luis Guzmán.
Love that guy. ¿Cómo está, mija?
Oh my gosh. ¡Qué orgullo! That's all I can say. So happy Puerto Rican Heritage Month. Thank you for representing us the way you have all these years and the way you continue to represent, not only in front, but behind, right? Which I was there for your award ceremony, and it was really, really inspirational to just listen to how long you've been in the game and how you're able to, I guess, pass it forward from this place of like, you know what? We're going to tell our authentic stories.
Yeah.
And so from that place of having been in all these films, right, and working in the industry for so many years and serving in this capacity of being an actor to now becoming a producer, which I know you've been producing for a while now, what is it that shifted the dynamics for you to really hone in on telling our stories?
Well, I wanted us to take control. I wanted us to have the creative control of what we do. I didn't want anybody else that doesn't understand us navigating us through that. And I just felt that we, in my case, myself and Semi Guzman, along with a few other people, were able to understand what our navigation should be in order to tell our story. Because we have beautiful stories, man. You know, and the problem is when you go into some places and you're trying to pitch your story, it's like people don't get it. And so that one day they just told me, it's like, you know what? They don't get it, but I get it. And you know, we're gonna move forward with this, and we're gonna find ways of doing this, creating this. And not only just, you know, for myself, you know, but for a whole community, you know, because when you do a film, you're putting people to work.
Right.
You got a crew, you got actors, you got caterers, you got drivers, you know, so you're building a movement with your production company.
Right, and a workforce too. Right,
Exactly.
and you're stimulating the economy within that particular area.
Correct.
Right, and this happened to be in the Bronx, so it's a made in New York production.
Correct.
Right, and so this particular story, Story Avenue, is really a wonderful story that I want to say really resonated with you from a deep place. I mentioned in your introduction that you were formerly a social worker, or should I say you're a social worker at heart and by trade, right? In your way of being,
yeah.
right? Right. And so this particular character really, really showcases you and your empathy.
Yeah, you know, Aristotle Torres did an incredible job of really developing my character in Story Ave. It's interesting how it came about to me, because for 18 months, he was trying to get in touch with me. And they had sent that script to my agency, and they found out they didn't have any money to shoot the film.
Right.
So I never heard about it. And jump 18 months later, I get a phone call from my brother, Ruben Rivera. Say, hey, I want to introduce you to this young man. Gustavo Torres wrote this thing, and he wrote this incredible part for you. So I said, okay, give my email, have him send me the script. I sat down, I read that script in one pass. For me to sit down to read a script in one pass, that means that had an impact. And I got in touch with him, and immediately I said, I'm doing this movie. And then I called my people, and they go, they ain't got no money. I said, you know what? We're going to find the money. We're going to make it happen, because stories like this are not a dime a dozen.
It's a beautiful story.
This is something, finding a jewel in the rough,
yeah.
man. And we took that, and we buffed it, and we shined it up, and we made it happen, and we put an incredible team together, an incredible cast together. And I was really proud también to say that we got some of our funding from one of our partners, Mero, who are out of Chicago, a Latino investment company. And so, like I said, we put all the pieces together.
Right.
But more than anything, we proved to ourselves and to the world we could make good movies.
Right.
Because Story Ave has been getting very good to excellent reviews.
Yes.
They just opened up in 2 more theaters. And while I was at the festival on stage, I get a text saying, wow, 2 standing ovations.
Nice. But where did they open? Because here's the thing. I do want to mention it on air, because I need our audience to understand the importance of supporting our work, right? Because I remember you saying something on one of your speaking engagements that I attended, how there was a screening going on here in the Bronx, and there were very few people in the actual audience.
Yeah, well, I mean, the theaters now are a bit of a challenge, coming out of the whole pandemic and stuff like that.
Right.
We're not one of those superhero movies that gets like $1 billion budget to advertise.
Right.
This is our advertisement.
Right.
Our advertisement is Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and phone calls and talking to groups of people. We call it what? Grassroots,
Right.
Promoting. And so I understand that, but I also know that people have been seeing this movie.
Right.
We got extended at the Quad Theater for 5 weeks. No film really gets extended past 2 weeks these days. And we got extended, and they were showing the film in the Bronx. We went, it was a big theater.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I also don't know how many people knew about it, right? And we did, promote. We had a few reps on air. Really on behalf of the International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival, Story Avenue was mentioned. However, we didn't know where it was screening. And I think it's a film that we need to see more of, right? It was its own art form, not just the story itself, the way it was captured, and the relatability, which I think is really the point, right? We need to, if we want to see our stories, we have to go see them. We have to invest in them, right? So the investment comes in supporting it as well. And I loved it. It actually represents everything that we stand for here on Open Friday, with the artistry of, the young man being a graffiti artist who is making his way into Pratt and involved with certain individuals.
Yeah, he wants to be part of a crew.
Right.
He has to prove himself. And the way he's going to prove himself is, he got to do something negative. He got to hold up somebody. And he tries to hold up the wrong guy, and that wrong guy becomes his mentor.
Right.
And it becomes life-changing because it becomes about 2 people really saving each other, about supporting each other in their own struggle. You see? And that's the beauty of the story. And
The duality. There's a duality in everybody's story. I mean, I don't want to give too much away, and I hope that you guys are going to be able to see it because it seems to be getting a nice acknowledgement, right? It's getting a lot of, and so it's really a matter of us making sure that it makes its way to have a long life.
Well, it will have a long life because it's that kind of film. This the kind of film that, again, it's word of mouth. People have been seeing it. Man, I get emails all the time about reviews, and they've been really super. Listen, I'm proud of it.
I know you can tell. You can tell. We've been talking about that movie, and I definitely wanted to talk about all the other stuff that you've worked on.
But let's talk about some other stuff.
No, but we can go back and forth. But I just love your passion and the way you really express how you feel about being able to be part of this very important story. That's our story, our urban stories.
I want to always promote our community, our stories to the universe. I'm not interested in us doing our stories just for our community, because our community goes out to the, just to mention, reggaeton music is not just Puerto Rican music,
right.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You go to a bar mitzvah and they're playing it,
Right.
So, you go to a funeral and they're playing Willie Colon.
Right.
Or something like that, because that's, we just go out to the universe because that's a whole creative thing that we got going.
I know, and I love that you're associated with like Adam Sandler, right? Just because you said Bar Mitzvah, I love that show, by the way. I love that. If you guys haven't seen it, it's on Netflix, right? You're so not invited into my Bar Mitzvah. I love your character in there, but I love your relationship to Adam Sandler because I love how Adam Sandler created his own world, and he invites his peers and similar, or like it's mostly the same people. I mean, he invites other people, but I know in this particular show, he incorporated his family. And that takes some kind of navigating on the back end from the financial perspective, right? From the green lighting perspective to make those kind of shows happen. And I know you also recently were at the Kennedy Center as part of his being honored with the Mark Twain Award.
Yeah.
And so what have you learned from having those kind of relationships?
Well, those kind of relationships are really important because, they kind of help to advance you as an artist and to be included in that world. It's very humbling to me.
As yourself, right?
Oh, yeah, man.
As a Puerto Rican from...
Listen, as a Boricua, but also as another human being on this planet.
Right.
Because, at the end of the day, I take a lot of pride in being Boricua and being Latino.
Right.
But also, it's my thing is about all humanity.
Yeah. It's a universal thing. I hear you. I'm on the same page with you, by the way. I think we're all one race, a human race.
Yeah, well, look, I grew up as a kid, I grew up with everybody. Where we live, it was Puerto Rican, Mexican, Dominican, Irish, Ukrainian, Polish, Asian, Jewish, Hebrew, you name it. That was our clique. You know what I mean? And so I learned to appreciate all the different cultures, all the different foods, and that's still a part of me, But like I said, I take a lot of pride in who I am, where I come from. I was born in Puerto Rico. My family came to the South Bronx first. Then we moved to Chelsea. Then we moved to the West Village. Then we moved to Lower East Side, you know?
Which you've been repping for all these years, which I love. And you still, because every time you come, you always make sure that you're investing in that community.
Yeah.
All right, so then what can we talk about with your upcoming projects?
Sami and we have a production company, Dark Rabbit Production. We do have a slate of like 10 films.
Semi, by the way, mi gente, is his son. If you didn't get it when he says Semi Guzman, I just want to mention he's been on Open before as well.
And we got 2 films slated for next year.
Nice.
We're developing a whole bunch of other stuff. Bringing up new up-and-coming directors and writers, and always looking for new talent and established talent to work with us. it's really cool because people are knocking on our door, you know, and that's when you're able to flip that, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. It's amazing how you're balancing both worlds, right? Because it sounds to me like you're becoming a lot more passionate in really being the decision maker in the film that is being told, or the stories that are being told.
That's really important because, you know, we got to put ourselves in the driver's seat because we've been passengers for too long.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But, you know, as a passenger, you're learning the route.
Right.
Because you go down that route all the time. And then finally you say, you know what? Well, let's get behind the steering wheel. Let's drive this. Let's go.
Thank you for those words of wisdom. Luis Guzmán, everyone! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, thank you for making the time to be here with us. Te quiero mucho. You guys follow him on IG at Louis from the Hood. You'll learn more about Story Avenue and all the projects he's working on. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all of our guests for coming through and to you, our viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out this episode throughout the weekend at 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rina Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide paz, prosperity, y amor. Happy Puerto Rican Heritage Month, mi gente.
Vayamos.